What's going on, guys? Alex back again. Trying out a different angle. I don't know how well it looks, but hopefully it looks okay, because I really don't want to have to redo this, because I've only got a small stack of stuff to show you, and I've still got about this much that I'm about to show you still to listen to. So I'm going to try and get through these sort of quickly. A lot of this stuff is just filling in gaps in the collection, but I do have one 7-inch single. I know I said I wasn't going to pick up any more, and I found one that I just couldn't pass up. It's Travelling Band by Creedence Clearwater Revival, and it's backed with Who'll Stop the Rain. Who'll Stop the Rain is my favourite song by Creedence Clearwater Revival, so I had to grab a 7-inch with that song on it, and I found that. So there's that one. Nice to own that. And next up, I'm just making some room here, is Frankie Goes to Hollywood, Relax, 12-inch. I don't know why I picked this up, because the 7-inch mix, personally for me, is a bit, I prefer the 7-inch mix. I guess I have it because it's one of those classic 80s tracks on 12-inch, but I don't really like any of the mixes on it, so I don't know if it's a keeper, but it's still nice to check out the different mixes and whatnot. But yeah, there it is. Relax by Frankie Goes to Hollywood on 12-inch. Next up is this compilation called The Champ by the Dizzy Gillespie Big Band. I didn't see the back, so I said Big Band, I just saw the front. And I wanted to discover more, I wanted to give Dizzy Gillespie a proper chance, because he's done work with Stevie Wonder, and yeah, I just didn't check out a lot of his stuff. And unfortunately, this is on the Music for Pleasure label. It is a reissue label. The compilation itself is from '58. On the what's that? Burgundy? No, that's purple. Purple Music for Pleasure label. Like I said, a reissue label. I'm not that into the big band stuff, so maybe, I mean, there's a couple of things on here I enjoyed, but for the most part, I wasn't that into this. But I'm keeping it for a while because I want to give it another chance at least. So there it is, The Champ by Dizzy Gillespie. Next up, we have a piece of hip hop here, a bit of classic 80s hip hop. This is Skeezer Pleaser by UTFO. Not my favorite group from the 80s, but they're still good. They're really funny guys with their lyrics. Definitely good stuff here. And this is actually a American pressing, but it's also a gold stamp promo, which I like. I haven't picked up anything gold stamp promo in a while. But yeah, American issue on Select Records. And this is a really good album, actually. I didn't know what to expect, because I really only knew their big hit, if I'm honest. They're not my usual type of thing, but this was a really good album, so yeah, I'm gonna give it credit. It's really, really good. Definitely worth checking out. There's one soulful track on here with a rap, but everything else is like that classic 80s rap sound. Not a big fan of that, but that was a really good album. This next one, I need to give another try, because again, I wasn't that big a fan of it. But this is Prince, Around the World in a Day. It's not a bad album. There's a couple of tracks on here I enjoyed, for the most part. But yeah, I didn't know what I was really getting myself into. But what attracted me to this particular copy was it still has this with it, which I assume from the shape, I thought it was a bookmark when I saw it, but then I looked at it closer, and from the shape of it, it goes like that on the album originally. It just hasn't got the back, but yeah, it's a little strip that goes on the album to tell you what it is, which is nice. I mean, I assume that that's the front, but that could be I mean, it has to be the way it fits on there, but there, yeah, there. Anyway, I'm digressing, and you should all know this by now. It has a custom label there. Really good stuff, really good. I like the label on this. Again, I'm going to have to give this one another listen, because, like I said, I wasn't that big a fan of it, if I'm honest, and I do like Prince. I loved Purple Rain, I loved 1999, but this one, I don't know, for some reason I was struggling to get into this one, so maybe I'll just have to give it another listen, but for now, I can't give this album a positive review, I'm afraid. Sorry to any Prince fans out there, but there's still a couple of good tracks on it, so I'm going to give it credit for that, but for the most part, it wasn't really for me, for most of it. The next one was very well received on Facebook and Instagram. This is Frank Sinatra, Sinatra at the Sands, with Count Basie and the orchestra, arranged and conducted by Quincy Jones. Now, when you've got Frank Sinatra, Count Basie and Quincy Jones all on one album, you're gonna pick this up, you're gonna grab it, it doesn't even matter. 70s compilation, I believe, but covers a lot of Frank's 50s material, which is the material I enjoy the most. Very, very glossy cover on the reprise, however you want to say it, but yeah, there's that orange reprise label. Not a big collector of Frank, but this was really, really good. So, and yeah, definitely recommend that as a live album. I mean, he does pause the music for a little at one point to like do a little comedy sketch, and it was, honestly, he's a funny guy, Frank, but you know, it's kind of hard to laugh at a little bit of his stuff when the sense of humor is very different, because apparently I have a dry sense of humor to some people, so we'll leave that. Next one is actually the only thing by this band out of their first 4 albums I was missing. This is Flaunt the Imperfection by China Crisis, their 3rd album. Really good album, actually. I didn't know what to expect, because I didn't like that 2nd album that much, but this was a huge improvement over that album. I don't know if it's because it was produced by Walter Becker of Steely Dan, but this album sounds really good, but you can definitely hear a sort of Steely Dan influence in this album a little bit. But yeah, I've talked about China Crisis before on my channel. They're the first band I ever saw live. They were a fantastic gig, and you know, I would love to see them again if they ever toured again. But definitely good. And now that I have their first 4 albums, it's nice to finally be able to give this a proper review. I love it. Definitely good. And yeah, while that's not the cleanest copy of the album out there, it's the cleanest copy of it that I've ever seen, so that's why I grabbed it. Next up, Hannah, I hope you're watching, because you'll like this next one. Speak and Spell, Depeche Mode, their debut, I believe, and Just Can't Get Enough, the closing track, was probably my favourite song on this whole album. I loved New Life, I loved Boys Say Go, I loved I Sometimes Wish I Was Dead. Not their best, not my favourite album by them, honestly. I prefer a lot of their 90s material and later 80s material, but still a very good debut album from Depeche Mode. As I've been trying to get into their stuff a bit more, I figured I'll start where it all started for them, and definitely a good band. And funny enough, their hometown is probably, if me and my family was to drive there tomorrow. It would probably take us about 2 hours to get there from here, so not bad, not bad. Great British band, of course, but definitely not my favourite album by them, sad to say. I know people love that, but for me it just wasn't, I wasn't feeling it. Some more jazz, actually. Definitely a good jazz album. This is a compilation, but it's Dave Brubeck, or the Dave Brubeck Quartet, and it's Time Out and Time Further Out on one compilation. I've picked these up before. I had an Allman Brothers Band compilation like this, where it was their first 2 albums. This is just Time Out and Time Further Out. I picked this up mainly because Dave Brubeck's best friend, a Sri Lankan guy, I believe, I think he's like 82, 83, somewhere around there, came into the shop that I work in at one time and started digging through our classical stuff, and he was just telling us all these stories about Dave Brubeck, and that just made me wanna. Ever since that story, I've been trying to get a copy of Time Out, and this is the closest I've ever got, so yeah, this is definitely a nice little compilation. Time Out I love. I'm still yet to listen to the side with Time Further Out, but yeah, I'd definitely say Take 5 is one of my all-time favourite jazz songs, easily, without question. So yeah, there it is, Dave Brubeck, Time Out / Time Further Out. I'm not sure what year this compilation is. All I know is it's on CBS, so it's a British one, because CBS is British. If it was American, it'd be Columbia. But it's still nice to have it. Finally, I have a copy of Time Out. It doesn't matter, but there it is. Time Out by Dave Brubeck. Next up, I've been trying to get into a bit more psych recently, and so I figured I will give this album a try, and I really loved it. It's In-A-Gadda Da Vida by Iron Butterfly, a Spanish pressing of all things. I don't think I had any Spanish copies of any albums, but this is on a really I've never seen that before, an orange and pink island label. That's why I grabbed this one. That's what attracted me to it in the first place. But yeah, In-A-Gadda Da Vida. You've got to know this album if you're into psych. I see this all the time in the VC, or at least used to. I think it's because most people have it already. But yeah, definitely a good album. 17 minutes is In-A-Gadda Da Vida, so it takes up all of side 2, but side 1's still good as well. And you can see there the tracks are all in Spanish and then in English, but definitely really good. I mean, I think I've been trying to get a copy of this realistically ever since I listened to the song for the first time, which wasn't that long ago actually. It just reminded me of that Simpsons episode where they did a little spin-off in church of the song In-A-Gadda Da Vida, but they changed it to In the Garden of Eden. So it was once I understood the reference of this to that, I got the joke then, but I didn't get it back then, obviously, because I was really young. But if you've seen the episode, you'll know that they use In-A-Gadda Da Vida by Iron Butterfly, but they change it to In the Garden of Eden by Iron Butterfly, which it's funny now that I understand it, but obviously at the time, being really young when I first saw it, I didn't get it, but now I do, and it's really funny. Reggae album, I haven't picked up any reggae in a long time actually, I don't think. No, I lied, I picked up John Holt not too long ago. But yeah, this is another reggae album. Aswad, New Chapter. The last Aswad album I picked up I wasn't a big fan of. This one I loved. This is really good. 81 is the year on this, and it's just good. African Children, I'll Keep on Loving You, Zion, Candles, Love Fire, all just phenomenal stuff. On CBS again, with the original inner sleeve, lyrics on both sides, just incredible stuff. Definitely worth checking out. And the last thing I'm going to show you in this video is actually something I showed off in my last video, because I had to pick this up to do that video because I didn't have anything by this band. As I said back then, this band's really hard to find. You either find, I mean, I'm okay with reissues, but for my favourite albums by this band that I kind of want to get first, I want originals. But it's still really good. I would love originals of this band if I can get them, but when they come through, they're either really expensive or really in really terrible shape. I'm digressing again, I know. But yeah, this is the story of The Clash Volume 1. I'm pretty sure that this is the album that has 4 different colours on the cover. Like, there can be a red one that I think is the most popular one. I'm sure there's a yellow one, a blue one, and a green one. But this just covers. This is an 80s compilation, 88 to be exact, and it just covers all the best stuff from The Clash's first 5 albums, which honestly are my favorite time of The Clash. And it's nice because Topper Headon lives somewhat locally to me as well, so if I ever get a chance to meet him, maybe I can get him to sign this, or at least one of if I pick up another Clash album and get that signed. But we'll see how things go. I'm talking about in the future anyway. But yeah, the original inners, both there, and I do really like the custom label on this. There it is, on CBS again, but this is a really nice copy of this. So yeah, there we go. There you have it. The story of The Clash by The Clash. And that's going to do it for this video, guys. Thanks so much again for tuning back into the channel. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you're new here, welcome. This is the type of stuff I tend to show, and much more than this as well. So make sure you subscribe and turn on your notifications so you know when I upload next. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, and make sure you leave a comment. Let me know if you've listened to any of these albums and what you think of them. So yeah, with that, Alex Spins Vinyl is checking out once again. Peace.